හැම දිනාටම තෙරුවන් සරණයි මහා සංඝරත්නයේ අවසරයි. අපි සාකච්ඡා කරමින් ඉන්නේ මජ්ක්‍ධිම නිකායේ 60 වෙනි සූත්‍රය අපන්නක සූත්‍රය. ඉතින් මේ සූත්‍රයේ ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන් මේ අපන්නක කියන වචෙන් තේරුම අවිරුද්ධ ප්‍රතිපදාව කියන එක. මොකද විරුද්ධ අය දෙන්නෙක් ඉන්නවා. සමහරු කියනවා දානේ විපාක නැත කියලා, සමහරු කියනවා දානේ විපාක ඇත කියලා. සමහරු කියනවා මැරුවට ඒවම කළාට වරදක් නැත කියලා, සමහරු කියනවා එහෙම එපා හොඳ නෑ කියලා. ඔහොම එකිනෙකට අතිශයින්ම විරුද්ධ කණ්ඩායම් දෙකක් ඉන්නවා. හේතුවක් ඇත කියලා කියන ඉන්නවා, හේතු නැත කියලා ඉන්නවා. ඔන්න ඔයගේ වෙලාවකදී නුවණින් ඒ ගැන සලකා බලන විදිය තමයි මේ සූත්‍රයේ උගන්වන්නේ. කොහොමද නුවණින් සලකා බලද්දී විශේෂයෙන්ම සලකා බලන්නේ මේ මතය නිසා කාය වාග් මනස් දුෂ්චරිත වැඩෙනවද සුචරිත වැඩෙනවද ඊට පස්සේ මෙලෝ පරලොව යහපත සිද්ධ වෙනවද ඊට පස්සේ සම්මා දිට්ඨි සංකප්ප වාචා ආදී ඒවා වැඩෙනවද නැති වෙනවද ඔන්න ඔයගේ කරුණු තමයි ඥානවන්ත එක්කෙනා සලකා බලන්නේ. අන්න එහෙම සලකලා බලලා තමයි එයා අර දෙකටම විරුද්ධ වෙන්නේ නැති මධ්‍යම ප්‍රතිපදාවේ යන්නේ. ඉතින් ඕක තමයි මේ සූත්‍රයේ සාරාංශ කරලා කිව්වොත් කියන්න පුළුවන් කම.
Everybody. We are going to continue our reading from the suttas. We are reading from the middle and discourses, Majjhima Nikaya, Sutta number 60, the Apannaka Sutta, or the incontrovertible teaching, or it's kind of unopposable teaching. So we try to do kind of summary what the sutta is about. The Buddha talks about opposing views, like one that goes along with the basic worldly right view, and the one that is completely opposite to that, or the teachings that actions, good and bad actions, have kind of good and bad happening, and the opposing teaching that whatever you do, there is no good or no bad, no wrong, no proper, it's just action and nothing else. The last thing we did was this non-causality thing, which says there is no effort, no strength, and beings are defiled and purified not by this based on any cause or condition. And the opposing one is the opposite of that. So taking these two, the Buddha says what can be expected and how a wise person reflects on this and picks the thing which is like irreproachable or unopposable. So considering this life result and the other life result, the one that brings like that is irreproachable, that is the way how to go about it.
ඔව් දැන් ඔන්න මේ ඊගාව අලුත් විරුද්ධ දෙගොල්ලෝ ඊග අලුත් කොටස ඒකේ තියෙනවා සමහරු ඉන්නවා මේ අරූප බ්‍රහ්ම ලෝකයක් නැහැ කියලා කියනවා. ඒ වගේම ඒගොල්ලන්ට ඍජුව විරුද්ධ වෙලා තව කොටසක් ඉන්නවා අරූප බ්‍රහ්ම ලෝක තියනවා කියලා කියනවා.
So we are about to start new section. Last thing we did was the non-causality teaching. So now we are about to start another one, which is about the immaterial states. So these two groups, basically, we will read all the definition, but basically there are ascetics and Brahmins that say there are no immaterial realms and so on, and then the other group says no, there are immaterial realms and so on.
එතකොට ඥානවන්ත එක්කෙනා මෙහෙම ඒ ගැන සලකා බලනවා. යම් මේ මහාන බමුණු කෙනෙක් අරූප බ්‍රහ්ම ලෝක කියලා જાතියක් නැහැ කියලා කියනවා නම් ඒගොල්ලෝ නැහැ කියලා කියනවා නම් ඒ කාරණා මාත් දැකලා නැහැ. මේ නුවණින් හිතන එක්කෙනා. ඒ වගේම තවත් අය කියනවා නම් අරූප බ්‍රහ්ම ලෝක තියෙනවා කියලා ඒ කරුණත් මම දැකලා නැහැ. ඒකින්ද මම දන්නේ නැති දකින්නේ නැති දකින්න නැති එක්කෙනෙක් වශයෙන් මේකමයි ඇත්ත අරක බොරු කියලා කියන එක මේ සුදුසු නැහැ. මම දන්නේ නැති මේ දෙකම හරිද වැරදිද කියලා දන්නේ නැති හින්දා එකක්වත් හරි කියලා කියන එක සුදුසු නැහැ. හැබැයි ඒ ශ්‍රමණ බ්‍රාහ්මණයෝ කියනවා නම් මේ අරූප බ්‍රහ්ම ලෝක නැහැ කියලා හැබැයි රූපී දෙවි කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා නම් එහි ඉපදෙන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි අරූප බ්‍රහ්ම ලෝක තියනවා කියලා හිතන අය ඒගොල්ලෝ අරූපී බ්‍රහ්ම ලෝකෙට යන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් රූපය කියන්නේ ගොඩාක් ආදීනව තියෙන දෙයක්. රූප නිසා කලහ විග්‍රහ විවාද ඒව ඇති වෙනවා. තෝ කියනවා පිසුනා වචන මුසා ඔක්කොම අකුසල ධර්ම මේ රූප භවය පදනම් කරගෙන ඇති වෙනවා. අරූප භවයේ හැබැයි ඒ මොකුක්වත් නැහැ. ඒක හින්දා අරූප බ්‍රහ්ම ලෝකයක් තියෙනවා කියන අය රූපයන්ගේ නිර්වේදයේ පිණිස විරාගයේ පිණිස නිරෝධයේ පිණිස පිළිපැද්ද අය වෙනවා කියලා යා කල්පනා කරලා බලන්න.
Okay, this is somewhat complex. Okay, so householders there. No, you said it yesterday. This one is not easy. Even though it's shorter than the previous one, it is more difficult to grasp. Householders, there are some recluses and Brahmins whose doctrine and view is this. There are definitively no immaterial realms. Now, there are some recluses and Brahmins whose doctrine is directly opposed to that of those recluses and Brahmins, and this group, they say there definitely are immaterial realms. So what do you think, householders? Don't these recluses and Brahmins hold doctrines directly opposed to each other? Yes, Bhante. About this, a wise man considers thus. These good recluses and Brahmins hold the doctrine and view there are definitively no immaterial realms, but that has not been seen by me. And these other good recluses and Brahmins hold the doctrine and view there definitively are immaterial realms, but that has not been known by me. If, without knowing and seeing, I were to take one side and declare only this is true, anything else is wrong, that would not be fitting for me. Now, as to the recluses and Brahmins who hold the doctrine and view there definitively are no immaterial realms, if their word is true, then it is certainly still possible that I might reappear after that among the gods of the fine material realms who consist of mine. But as to the recluses and Brahmins who hold the doctrine and view there definitively are immaterial realms, if their word is true, then it is certainly possible that I might reappear after death among the gods of the immaterial realms who consist of perception. The taking up of rods and weapons, quarrels, brawls, disputes, recrimination, malice, and false speech are seen to occur based on material form. But this does not exist at all in the immaterial realms. After reflecting thus, he practices the way to disenchantment with material forms, to the fading away or disattachment and cessation of material forms. So what kind of message, or did you get what the message might have been intended here?
දැන් මෙහෙමයි. ඒකේ එච්චර ලොකු අවුලක් නැහැ ඇත්තටම.
එක්තම නෑ.
මේ සමහරු කියනවා රූපාවචර කොහොමද මේ අරූපාවචර ලෝක තියනවා කියලා. සමහරු කියනවා අරූපාවචර ලෝක නැහැ කියලා. ඒතර නුවණින් සලකා බලන එක්කෙනා හිතනවා මට අරූපාවචර ලෝක තියනවා කියලා පේන්නේත් නැහැ කියලා පේන්නේත් නැහැ. ඒකින්ද මම එක පැත්තක් ගන්න එක හරි නැහැ. හැබැයි අරූපාවචර ලෝක නැහැ කියලා කියන එක්කෙනා රූපාවචරයෙන් එහා යන්නේ නැහැ. රූප නිසා තමයි ඔක්කොම ආරවුල් අරෝමේව තියෙන්නේ. ඒ මට්ටමින් එහාට යන්නේ නැහැ අරූපාවචර ලෝක නැහැ කියලා කියනවා. හැබැයි අරූපාවචර ලෝක තියනවා කියනවා නම් එයාට ඒ රූප ආදීනව සහිත රූප නිරෝධයට යන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක රූප ඉක්මවා යන්න පුළුවන් කියලා මේ නුවණින් සලකා බලන එක්කෙනා තේරුම් ගන්නවා.
So it's something like this white person, wise person again reflects. Now, if the first group that's saying no immaterial realms, so I can still end up in the immaterial realms because they don't say that does not exist, but nothing higher than that. But if the second...
No, වැරදුනා. Immaterial realms. End up in immaterial realms. When
you cannot end up there. You can end up in the final.
Okay, cannot. Okay.
But if the second group is right, I can go up to the immaterial realms, which are much like more sublime and special. So out of these two results, the second one is seemingly really the more advanced. Then he reflects anyway, any kind of quarrels and fighting and all these things, they have connection with some kind of form. But you cannot get these without the form. So seeing that, this vice person then practices for the like disattachment and cessation of the form, or you can say transcending the form, because he sees how the form can lead to these problems where if you transcend the form, let go of that, the basis for these quarrels and arguments is not there at all.
විනීත හඳුර දැන් මට ඉතාම වැදගත් වැඩක් කියදුනා. ඒකෙන්ද ඔබ වහන්සේම සූත්‍ර ඉතුරු ටික කියලා දෙන්න. මම ඒ වැඩේට යන්න ඕන.
ඉතුරු ටික මධ්‍යම පඤ්ඤාස.
No. ඉතුරු මේ සූත්‍ර ඉතුරු ටික. So I have another very important obligation. So I have to go for that. Vinita Handra will continue the class.
If people have questions to shoot, is it
Okay,
if we
okay.
discuss?
You
Because
can
then
discuss.
the internet
Yes.
people can...
Yes. Okay. This thing is open, okay?
Oh, is it open? Oh, okay.
So at the end you can switch off it.
So now it's up to us. If we have some questions, we can try to have discussion. Otherwise, I will try to little by little read the sutta and we can have this small kind of discussions about that. But main thing first, did the message about this part get through, or yes?
Yeah, I would have expected that the end of the summary of the Buddha would have been in this corollary, which he often repeats, that he cares about people recognizing dukkha, recognizing the way of getting away with dukkha, but those questions are metaphysical, and he doesn't care very much about those because they don't lead to cessation of dukkha. I would have expected
Not
this.
but because we have to remember this was this group of people that have this because we don't have this kind of discussion happening in our like culture, whether there are immaterials or not, because in most religions the simplified vision of the heaven is you are somewhere in the clouds, like kind of with wings on your back and playing some harp or something like that, which is something to do with a form. So but in the Buddha's time, some part of these ascetics and Brahmins, they actually had jhanas, and they were discussing if there is something higher than the jhanas that they know. And for the ascetics, it was a really like important point of discussion. And there were these two groups, and it seems from this one, that's why Buddha talks about this with these people, that the people of that village heard this discussion also. And then for me the message of the sutta is the Buddha is kind of hinting what is the clever way when you are presented with these conflicting things, how you decide what to do with that. So for me the message is kind of limited to like what you said is true, but he's kind of limiting the answer in connection only with the, like, if these different ascetics and Brahmins come and one group says there are no immaterial realms and the other one says yes there are, what is the clever way how to deal with that? So first one is don't fall into this is definitively true, the other anything else is definitively wrong. This is like overreaching because you have not probably realized these things, so you don't know either way. You don't know if it's there or not. So it's like first step, don't get into this is the truth and everything is else. Second thing is, if you are kind of just what would you call that, pragmatic, let's say. So okay, if the first group is right, the highest way you can go is the Brahma realms of defined material matter. But if what the second group says is true, you can go up to the immaterial realms, which are supposed to be like next step, upgrade. So if you consider that second group choice is better one, just like pragmatically. And the last step of that is considering whenever people fight and talk about it has something to do with this material form, with some matter of something. But if I like this step is not given there in the sutta because most people understand it that getting into arguments and fights and so on is not clever. Like better way is if you don't get into that. So how you do that is, because these arguments are based on the form, if you practice in a way of seeing the drawbacks and renunciation and stop being attached to any kind of form, it's how you get out of the thing that starts the arguments. And that's where the Buddha finishes, because this part is started with these two opposing things, there are immaterial realms or not. So that is how I understand it anyway. Paul had a question, or?
I'm just wondering if that last point is a general point about the use of violence.
Yes.
Or maybe I'm stretching too far,
Yeah.
interpreting it that way.
Mm.
That violence is always based on attachment to material reality, and that the way to avoid that is to be dispassionate toward material reality.
Yeah, yeah.
That's okay to think that way.
Yeah, I understand it that way. It's like extra point, like if you take it pragmatically, first group maximum result is lower than the second group. And anyway, you should not, firstly don't get into this kind of bigot, is it called bigot? Like this is the truth, everything else is wrong kind
Bigoted,
of.
yeah.
Yeah, so don't get into that way. Then pragmatically the second group seems to be like more okay to follow. And then the last step is, as you said, any arguments and things, they are based in some more tangible, some kind of form. So if you have no attachment to that, you are completely transcending what starts the argument. So, yeah, as you said.
So if you pushed it a little bit further, if you said, whenever we get into an argument, we're affirming the material forms over the immaterial forms, and when we avoid violence, we're indirectly affirming the immaterial forms over the material
No,
forms.
I would say this is going too far.
Okay.
Yeah, so. Okay.
It seems that the same logic was applied to in the other suttas as well, that it isn't important, the truth does not enter into the discussion. It's really not.
Yeah, no, he's really,
not
the
offending.
previous ones also, he considers these are the two opposing extremes, how to deal with that in a kind of pragmatical, clever way.
And he does not offend anyone. He gives the option.
Yeah, yeah,
of
it's
not-
like, usually, like if quite clearly the message is usually the second group which adheres to the they admit that ethically potent actions have corresponding results and things like that, but it goes from the pragmatical point, not saying, oh, I'm telling you this so you have to accept it.
Yeah, so that actually, that was the point I was kind of making, is that this is a skillful means of not creating more discord and two opposing
Yeah, and that's
views.
the
Let me
name
just
of the
put-
sutta.
Yeah, that seems to be one of the more subtle teachings there.
Yes, so it's called Apannaka, means incontrovertible, or in Sinhala it literally means unopposable. So it's like how to go without avoiding the opposition, or unless somebody is fanatic kind of person. If you give them this argument, they are probably, there is nothing much they can say to why you deal with that.
Thank you.
Okay, shall we read the next part then? This is about cessation of personality. So, householders, there are some recluses and Brahmins whose doctrine and view is this: there is definitively no cessation of being. So, Bhava Nirodha, okay, being or existence, it can be translated both ways. Now, there are some recluses and Brahmins whose doctrine is directly opposed to that of those recluses and Brahmins, and they say there definitively is a cessation of being. What do you think, householders? Don't these recluses and Brahmins hold doctrines directly opposed to each other? Yes, Bhante. So about this, a wise man considers in this way: these good recluses and Brahmins hold the doctrine and view there is definitively no cessation of being, but that has not been seen by me. And these other good recluses and Brahmins hold this doctrine and view there definitively is a cessation of being, but that has not been known by me. If without knowing and seeing I were to take one side and declare only this is true, anything else is wrong, that would not be fitting for me. Now, as to the recluses and Brahmins who hold the doctrine and view there definitively is no cessation of being, if their word is true, then it is certainly still possible that I might reappear after death among the gods of immaterial realms who consist of perception. But as to those recluses and Brahmins who hold the doctrine and view there definitively is a cessation of being, if their word is true, then it is possible that I might here and now attain final Nibbana. The view of those good recluses and Brahmins who hold the doctrine and view there definitively is no cessation of being is close to lust. The word for lust also means same thing is attachment, passion, and this kind of gluing to objects of experience. Lust, they are close to bondage, close to delighting, close to holding and clinging. But the view of those good recluses and Brahmins who hold the doctrine and view there definitively is cessation of being is close to no passion or no attachment, close to non-bondage, close to non-delighting, close to non-holding, close to non-clinging. After reflecting in this way, he practices the way to disenchantment with being, to fading away or detachment and cessation of being. So there are some footnotes. I will check what the footnote says because they have quite often explanations from the commentary which the Marathi Hamdul usually wants to be heard. So, the commentary just says that the bhava nirodha or cessation of being or existence is here actually a synonym for nibbana. And then it says, even though this person has doubts about the existence of nibbana, he attains the 8 meditative attainments, and then using one of these attainments as basis, he develops insight, thinking there is cessation, then I will reach. If there is cessation, then I will reach arahatship and attain nibbana. If he fails, he is certain of rebirth in the immaterial planes, but if he succeeds, he reaches arahatship and attains nibbana. Okay, so there is, I think for me, no extra information in the commentary. So anything you want to discuss about this part, or was that clear? This discussion uses the similar argument as the immaterial things, so I think no need to explain. There is a kind of, for me the message is here the person needs to be of certain level of spiritual advancement, let's say, because many normal people, if you tell them how the cessation of being is a kind of sublime good thing, they probably don't want that. So I have these 2 students, they are Sinhalese boys that live in Hong Kong, and when I was explaining about Nibbana one time, especially the young one, he was not very excited to hear about that, like Bhava Nirodha, the cessation of being is kind of connected with Nibbana and Arahatship. So for him I said, okay, so then this idea put out of your head and think about the Nibbana or attaining the Nibbana in terms of all kinds of bad qualities, they cease to exist forever. So then he said, okay, I can accept that is kind of okay, but the idea of the cessation of being is for many people really scary. So here, when the pragmatical choice is taken, that the cessation of being as the kind of better option for some people, this is like stretching it too much. So,
what is the big fear?
I don't know. For me, it sounds very nice and okay, but I know, because there are people coming here that are not Buddhist, or they are kind of Buddhist, but when they come near to this realization that it is scary. Actually, when they meditate and start getting into the purification of view stage, when they start seeing that what we perceive as an existing ongoing entity is a kind of construct and mental habit, and that there is actually nothing like that happening too much, many of them completely kind of freak out, because it's like, I have been living all my life as me, and now I realize this was all my life was lie or something like that, which is like very it's a shocking experience. And this Bhava Nirodha is like few levels above this. Okay, so one time, this is one of the things that hit me very strongly when the Lokoham Pemasri was talking about that. We had some discussion about what is Bhava, because the word is sometimes translated as becoming, and I am not too much happy about that translation. Lokohamudru was also not happy because I think partially he did not get the proper meaning, but he could hear the word coming there, and I think that's he was not happy about that. So linguistically, it's from bhavati, which means like to be or to exist. So the bhava is like being or existence, and or becoming. Sometimes the translators use the word becoming to signify it is also kind of active thing. It's not, because in English and other languages the word to be can be almost like very passive. So, but in Pali it's like both ways. It can be kind of passive as well as pretty much active. So anyway, so what he said was something like this. It is because we believe that we have bhava, that's why all this situation is always going on. And I was thinking, what does he mean by that? And still I have it in my mind. This was kind of funny statement and seems like a deep thing to me. Yeah, so anyway, so that is my personal thing. It's very connected with, we are reading this Ukkoravattika Sutta, this dog duty ascetic sutta. And there the Buddha talks about like bright actions or dark actions with dark results, bright actions with bright results, mixed dark and bright, this mixed dark and bright results, and then the action that leads to the cessation of action. But each part, when the Buddha explains what is the dark one with dark and so on, there is this kind of somewhat strange statement which goes something like, a being is what they are being. It can be translated like in several different ways, but my preferred translation is something like that. Or what becomes of being is according what they are being like or what they are. So this is very much connected, I think, feel with the Lokamu statements. We kind of believe we have the existence, we have the being, and that is what is continuing the whole situation. So. And then the Bhava Nirodha is saying that you can finish this situation, but that is like for many people it's really scary. It's in a way more scary than death, and I know some people, they don't even want to hear the word death, and this is like almost like more ultimate level than the death itself. So.
Are you talking about what could be called the teaching of no self?
No, it's very much interconnected kind of. So, yeah, but basically, yes, I might take it this way, because we appropriate the actions that we do, because bhava is a kind of, whenever you act or do something, it immediately creates bhava. Yes. So like whenever you are acting, you are being something, so to say, and because we kind of have inner notion that this action is my action or has something to do with the me and things like that, I think that's what Lokamu was referring to. But another part of that is thinking that the bhava is a stand-alone, real, substantial something being there. And in like, I don't know other Buddhism, but in Theravada definitively nothing lasts but a mind moment. So even the so-called bhava is just moment bhava. It's never, but again, like my point was, this is like some people that are not into the spirituality, this is like freakingly scary probably. So, yeah. I think, I'm not sure, the Sunita Abdu might know, I think there are some suttas where the Buddha says people are willing to listen if the teaching is more like a poem kind of story, but whenever the teachings about the cessation, and I think it might be in some suttas mentioned as cessation of being starts being taught, this person's mind, they don't incline and jump after this and they get very dispersed and scared. So. Okay, so if that is clear, let's do the next section then. So this section is called here 4 kinds of persons. Householders, there are 4 kinds of persons to be found existing in the world. What for? Here a certain kind of person torments himself and pursues the practice of torturing himself. Here a certain kind of person torments others and pursues the practice of torturing others. Here a certain kind of person torments himself and pursues the practice of torturing himself, and he also torments others and pursues the practice of torturing others. Here a certain kind of person does not torment himself or pursue the practice of torturing himself, and he does not torment others and pursue the practice of torturing others. Since he torments neither himself nor others, he is here and now, hungerless, extinguished and cooled, and he abides experiencing bliss, having himself become holy. What kind of person, householders, torments himself and pursues the practice of torturing himself? So then this is the same explanation as Sutta 51, which we read the other day. Does any of you still remember what these kind of 4 people were? Anybody? You will have to ask Sutta. Okay, so who is torturing others? Say this, but you don't need to go into this. This torture is a bit too strong. It means inflict pain. Think about it. Who is the one that inflicts pains of others, and what he does is a practice of torturing or like hurting others?
Yeah, if you say it's before, then it's the person who doesn't believe that there is an afterlife, that there is.
Yeah. Oh,
honor
that's
and all
true.
that
That
stuff.
can be the case, but the Sutta 51 gives more practical one. So okay, so it gives people like cow butcher, pig butcher, and stuff like that. Executioners, people whose like job is killing and causing pain.
It's
Okay.
literally torture.
Yes, so that's why I said torturing is a little bit too much here. So, okay, so then who is the person that tortures or causes pain to others? So we had this one. So what is the one torturing himself? Causing pain to himself.
Those ascetics.
Yes, ascetics. So then there is the long list, like they of these ascetic practices. First group starts with all kinds of eating regulations. Like he goes to one house one day, up to like one house every 7 days. He eats one morsel of food. He eats only this kind of rice or this kind of seed, and so on. And then others, they wear all kind of different clothes. So they wear like I don't know, only hemp clothes, or another one wearing even like owl's wings for clothing, or human bones. And then this one is sitting all the time, or squatting all the time, or sleeping on the bed of thorns. All these kind of practices that were supposedly usually seen as like you are, it's like a crucible for your soul that purifies the soul. And some of them had ideas that you had accumulated painful karma, and if you do this on purpose, you kind of burn away the bad karma, and then you are left with the purity, and things like that were behind those ideas. But anyway, these ascetic practices are considered as the one causing pain to oneself and having practice of that. So then who is the one that is like causing pain to oneself and others? This one you wouldn't guess probably. So this one in the Kandaraka Sutta says there is this head anointed king, and he decides for some reason or another to have this great sacrifice to celebrate something. So for the sacrifice they bring like hundreds of bulls, hundreds of sheep and goat and stallions and mares, and even female and male slaves, and they build outside of the city the sacrificial ground. That is the torturing of or others. But then this king, he kind of does some kind of ascetic practice getting there. So they say he oils himself with ghee and takes antlers and kind of scrubbing himself with the antlers. He goes from the palace up to the sacrificial ground, where he drinks for one special cow one teat, and he queens from another teat of the cow, and the Brahmin pays from other. So this, the Buddha gives us the example of one that is like torturing or causing pain to himself as well as others. So the fourth kind of person, I will go and read the definition from the sutta itself. That is basically a kind of nice definition that we want to go for. Because it has the whole definition of spiritual life. So it goes like this: what kind of person does not like cause pain to himself or pursue the practice of harming himself, and he does not torment others and pursue practice of tormenting others. The one who, since he torments neither himself nor others, is here and now hungerless, extinguished and cooled, and abides experiencing bliss, having himself become holy. Here, householders, a Tathagata appears in the world, accomplished, full, enlightened, perfect in true knowledge, and conducts sublime, knower of the worlds, incomparable leader of persons to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, enlightened and blessed. He declares this world with its gods, Maras, and its Brahmas, this generation with its recluses and Brahmins, its princes and its people, which he has himself realized by direct knowledge. He teaches the Dhamma, good in the beginning, good in the middle, and good in the end, with the right meaning and phrasing, and he reveals a holy life that is utterly perfect and pure. A householder or householder's son, or one born in some other clan, hears that Dhamma. On hearing the Dhamma, he acquires the faith in the Tathagata. Possessing that faith, he considers in this way: household life is crowded and dusty, life gone forth is wide open. It is not easy while living in a home to lead the holy life utterly perfect and pure like a polished shell. Suppose I shave off my hair and beard, put on the yellow robe, and go forth from the home life into homelessness. On a later occasion, abandoning a small or a large fortune, abandoning a small or large circle of relatives, he shaves off his hair and beard, puts on the yellow robe, and goes forth from the home life into homelessness. So then I will summarize these other steps. So after this, he is purifying his virtue, which here gives very nice definitions about the 5 precepts. Okay, so I encourage you, if you have free time until tomorrow, go to Sutta 51 and read this section on the person, because it gives nice touch. Normally we say abstain from killing and we drop it there, but it gives kind of positive definitions in the sutta, so which is really nice to read. So then he abstains of injuring plants and all kind of other things, like he purifies his virtue. That's the first step. So then he becomes content with robes to protect his body, arms, food to maintain his stomach, and whatever he goes, and so on. So like that, he possesses the aggregate of noble virtue, and okay, that's the next step. So the next step is guarding the sense doors. So you have purified the virtue, be content with whatever you get, guard the sense doors, then practicing full awareness, whenever going here and there, all these steps that are normally part of the Satipatthana Sutta on Satya and clear comprehension are mentioned. That is when looking here and looking back, turning here and there, walking here and there, flexing and extending the leg, dressing up, taking the bowl, eating, chewing, tasting and drinking, going to the toilet, the other kind of going to the toilet, and being silent and talking, all these things, even up to the point where you fall asleep. These basic steps are mentioned. Thus he possesses this aggregate of noble virtue and this noble restraint of the faculties and this noble mindfulness and full awareness or clear comprehension. Then he resorts to a secluded resting place, and then he is combating the 5 hindrances, whether it is day or night. So then after the hindrances are kind of overcome, he enters the jhanas. Then all the jhanas are mentioned, or the four jhanas are mentioned, and after that the 3 knowledges are mentioned. So when the mind is purified with the 4th jhana, which again has this beautiful definition, when his concentrated mind is thus purified, bright, unblemished, rid of imperfections, malleable, wieldy, steady, and attained to imperturbability, he directs it to knowledge of certain things. So first one is the recollection of the past lives, and he recollects the past lives, many, like tens, hundreds, thousands, even the worlds of like the eons of contraction and so on. I was there, name so and so, this kind of was my nutriment. I was enjoying the experience of enjoyment. There was that kind of passing from there. I arose somewhere else, and again I was called so and so. This was kind of food I had. This was my experience of pleasure and pain there, and so on, up to the then I arose here. Now I'm called whatever I'm called, and now this is the kind of nutriment and my experience of pleasure and pain here. So he recollects manifold past lives. That is the first knowledge, special knowledge. Then again he directs this mind to the divine iron element, which is the Dibba Chakku, especially this part which allows him to see how beings pass away and re-arise based on their actions. So he sees these good beings because they had bad bodily, verbal and mental conduct. They were like reviling noble individuals and were of wrong view. After death they arose in a bad destination, even in hell. And other beings that were like they had good conduct by body, speech and mind. They were of the right view and not reviling highly realized individuals. Those after death arose in a good destination, even in heaven. So he is able to see with this divine eye, which transcends the normal human eye, the passing away and arising of beings. And the last, that is the second special knowledge, and the third one is called asavakkhaya-jnana, or the knowledge or understanding about the extermination of the taints. Taints are even the subtlest level of defilements. So this one I like myself, so I read this part, okay? When his concentrated mind is thus purified, bright, unblemished, rid of imperfections, malleable, wieldy, steady, and attained to imperturbability, he directs it to the knowledge of the destruction of the taints. He understands as it actually is, this is suffering. He understands as it actually is, this is the origin of suffering. He understands as it actually is, this is the cessation of suffering. He understands as it actually is, this is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. He understands as it actually is, these are the taints. He understands as it actually is, this is the coming together, arising of the taints. He understands as it actually is, this is the cessation of the taints. And he understands as it actually is, this is the way leading to the cessation of taints. When he knows and sees thus, his mind is liberated from the taint of sensual desire, from the taint of being, and from the taint of ignorance. When it is liberated, there comes the knowledge. It is liberated. he understands birth is destroyed, the holy life has been lived, what had to be done has been done, there is no more coming to any state of being. Okay, this householders is called the kind of person who does not torment himself or pursue the practice of torturing himself, and who does not torment others or pursue the practice of torturing others. The one who, since he torments neither himself nor others, is here and now hungerless, extinguished and cooled, and abides experiencing bliss, having himself become holy. Okay, for me the word bliss is too much, so I would translate it just comfort. Okay, but that's my choice. When this was said, the Brahmin householders of Sala said to the Blessed One, Magnificent Master Gautama, Magnificent Master Gautama, Master Gautama has made the Dhamma clear in many ways, as though he were turning upright what had been overthrown, revealing what was hidden, showing the way to the one who was lost, or holding up a lamp in the darkness for those with eyesight to see forms. We go to Master Gautama for refuge, and to the Dhamma and to the Sangha of Bhikkhus. From today onward, let Master Gautama accept us as lay followers who have gone to him for refuge as long as the breath lasts. This accept is okay translation. Another one means also remember or keep. So because Dharatu